Hey, Gary's Gulch, welcome back. We're right before the new year, so let me be the first to welcome you to 2026. Happy New Year. I can't wait for this incredible year, especially the 4th of July coming up this year. It will be like one that none of us will ever experience again in our lifetimes on this rock as we go around and around the sun. It will never be something like the 250th. Even the 300th, if you're going to make it that far, will not be like the 250th. Incredibly optimistic about the future we have in this country, about the conservatives taking back over and solidifying what our founding fathers have put in place. This could be a decade plus of really bringing America back to its roots, highlighted by a celebration, a year-long celebration into what our founding fathers really meant. And that's where I'm headed in 2026. Looking forward to going down through this journey and this path with all of you alongside me. I wouldn't want to be in a vehicle with anybody but all of you. So thanks so much, and please continue to provide feedback. So my guest today is Glenn Yny. So Glenn and I did a podcast episode on his podcast, which was called the Millionaire Journey Podcast. And it was really talking about syndicators and how they raise capital and how they have investors. And the amazing thing has happened over these last few months since I was just not that long ago on Glenn's podcast. He realized after listening to my podcast and others that are similar that he wasn't on the path that actually to his core was a good fit for him. Now, I just had my amazing friend Yaney on, who is raising money in a fund and has been for years and makes a lot of passive investors happy. What Glenn found was that it wasn't a perfect fit for him. And so he changed from doing that and actually decided that what he enjoys most is the concepts like infinite banking, personal finance, and helping others gain agency in their lives. That's incredible. So here I attracted somebody who was one of my people to my podcast and into my circle. And Glenn didn't even know it until he started listening and he started paying attention to what resonated with him personally. And that's a journey that I hope all of you are taking as well. Some self-reflection, what I like, what I not like, why do I like those things? We talk about that, actually, my journey on this podcast episode. We're also talking about his new podcast. So he rebranded his podcast to be the Capitalize Your Life podcast. Wow. That's a good fit for my world, right? So now he talks to people about infinite banking. He talks to people about your own number one best asset, about how sharing with others in business and things like that, right? So we are on these parallel paths. He credits me a lot with him finding this path, whatever. I credit people with me finding the path as well, not looking for credit, just looking to attract people and get very clear that the people I'm on the bus with are the people who are like-minded and wanting to go in the same direction. And of course, that is increasing agency and control over our own lives, our own thoughts, and what we do with our day, how we share and add value to others around us, share God's light with other people so that this can be a better place for years and decades to come. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. I trust you had a wonderful celebration of Jesus's life called Christmas, and you were around family. And I do hope that you also like this upcoming podcast that Glenn will run on his, but gave me permission to run it a little bit early on mine.
Today, my guest is one of my good friends, Gary Pinkerton, host of Gary's Gulch podcast. Welcome, Gary.
Hey, thanks so much. It's awesome to be back or to be on the new rebranded podcast. I love Capitalizing Your Life. That's a pretty cool title.
Yeah, and I've been really, for me, I've just been thinking of things that makes me get fulfilling in life. And I think that's why that was the main purpose of changing the podcast. And when I listen to your podcast, it's always very empowering. And I wore my red, white, and blue shirt today just because I knew I was going to be talking to Gary. Gary's one of the most patriotic people I know. And I love your podcast. I listen to every podcast, and I always feel like I'm going to do better afterwards.
I'd wrap my flag behind me around me, but then people would make fun of me or they would give me grief for pushing Trump too much.
Yeah.
I'll not do that. But thank you so much for saying that about my podcast. Love that you're a listener of it. You never really know who's listening to your podcast unless they tell you. So appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. And I try to, because of what you saying that, I try to send text messages to you about your podcast just because
I love it.
I have the same thing. And really, it's funny because I've been looking at YouTube and all the content that I've been creating, and I see all the views, but there might be one.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm glad they're showing me the views at least because people are seeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are so like-minded. always being uplifting, abundant, and pushing people to count on themselves and look to their creator and all of these things that I've heard from you. And I know that you're like-minded on. Really appreciate the feedback you give me on my podcast. And it absolutely makes the difference. You personally and a few other people help me get up, dust off myself and do another episode. So really appreciate that.
Definitely. I don't know what podcast it was, but we've had you on in the past. But I'd like to just really catch up with you. And I heard you just received a new certification. Wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. So those who listen to my podcast or maybe even the previous episode on yours, I know we talked a lot about what drives me and what I do. And we did talk a bit about the infinite banking concept or high cash value whole life insurance as a personal banking system and tool. And certainly that is some of the bread and butter, some of the basic stuff that I do with clients. That and life is a journey, right? So I'm 56 years old. I learn new stuff all the time and realize I was in the right direction, but not actually on the path that I think is the optimal path. And I don't know if we ever truly know what our optimal path is. I would argue Charlie Kirk knew what his optimal path was, and a few other people on this planet. Jesus knew what his was. But I'm not sure we all do or ever get there. But we get better and better as long as we continue to pursue excellence and check in with the omniscient. I realized that back when I was in the military, I was somewhat chasing a W-2, yet there was also a lot of patriotism there. And I really wanted to protect America from outside threats. And I don't know that I could really explain why. I love the red, white, and blue. Well, why do I love that? And so I learned in my journey that I really love what our founding fathers put in place. But what do I love that? Oh, it's about freedom of the individual, being able to do whatever you want to do. Okay, that's part of it. That is part of it. Like when I read Dr. Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, and he says that your mind, your decision, your response is the one thing you can control. Yeah, that's part of it too, right? But these are all breadcrumbs to what's really most important. And so they're pushing me, they're nudging me, don't go left, go right, or whatever the next journey in life is or the next decision. And what I've come to is that and try to summarize as much as I can, I have become much stronger in my personal faith through things like personal financial losses, through trying to figure out what am I going to do after the military, through losing my parents at a young age and going through that. And so like all of these things have strengthened me. And frankly, I went to a Catholic school. My mom was very religious, and that does what it does for most Catholic kids or for like children of pastors. Like they push this away. They'd likely reject it when they become adults. And I didn't reject God or religion, but I was like, okay, I'm done with this 3 times a week stuff. And so I went off in material pursuits and things like that. But there are things that have happened in life for me that just accidents narrowly avoided or death narrowly avoided during accidents. Things that I'm an engineer. I believe in physics. I like math. I try to make the equations come out correctly. And man, there are some things that throughout my life that just have not made physical sense. Like the only reason I can explain what happened was because there's something more that I still need to be doing. So I've been searching for what is that I need to do. And so this is a really long answer. But what I've started to recognize is that if we are all on this planet to help to share our unique ability and genius with other people, then we're going to stick around here long enough until we've done that. But what is the thing we need to share? We have to connect in with our higher power to make sure we understand that. But once we get clear, and again, I'm not sure we ever get fully clear. That would be a wonderful destination. But I think we're always learning and growing and getting more particular about what it is. What I've recognized is that for me, it is helping others have the confidence and the financial capability, capitalize in their life such that they can share their unique genius with others. And then if I can help them understand how to run a business to do that, then they can scale it, right? They can scale sharing of their unique genius to others. Henry Ford wanted to belt the world with cars so that people could go visit family and experience life. Elon Musk has done the same thing, and he's going to take it to Mars, right? So people who have a vision and are clear with it and know how to run a business can do amazing things with that. People who are clear on their vision but don't know how to run a business, they share it with a couple people and die with a lot of music inside. I think all of these things are pushing me towards help people understand how to capitalize their life, how to have their own agency. That's the point of Gary's Gulch. Bring together a group of people, help them who are seeking agency and personal freedom. Like Dr. Viktor Frankl said, the one thing that they can't take from you is your mindset, But right before that, they're going to take your body, meaning put you in prison. And so you want to protect those at all costs, right? And America was the place that started this experiment 250 years ago. Simply put, you're free because God said you could be. And if you make something and share it and people compensate you for it, you get to keep that. That's the whole thing. If you want a short course on, on the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution, that's it. You're free. God said it because it came from God, not the government. And if you make something, you get to keep it. Later, we added taxes, but that's a different story. Anyway, so long story, but that's why I'm down this path. And so what is SEPA, the certification? It's called Certified Exit Planning Advisor. In the title, I'm helping people create a business that they can exit on their terms. So why do I want people to quit business? That seems like the opposite of what I just said. And it is. What I want people to do is to better understand business. It's a great business strategical decision to implement the process that we use in the SEPA program to help people convert their business into something that anyone would want to buy. People will fight over it, which means you're best in class, and it means that people will pay you top dollar for your business. But you can also figure out what I really want to do is sell to my employees in 5 little bites at the apple so that I can have that money as income liquidity throughout my retirement years. Or I want to give it to my kids, but they're not ready for it, or they don't know anything about business, or how do I get them ready? And so it's helping people improve their business so that they enjoy what they're doing. They're capitalizing the heck out of their life at that point, and it allows them to be in a financial position that they can continue sharing if they want to. Essentially, it gives people a business that they enjoy going to, that they can back themselves away from some, and maybe they don't ever want to get rid of it. Right. And even if they do want to get rid of it, they have taught so many people how to do what they did. They've taught their employees, they've taught their kids how to run business, how to enjoy doing it, how to be successful with it. And to me, that is operating at the next level.
Definitely. And as you were talking, I was thinking about really what we're doing is we're looking for the goal and then are backing our way out of that to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I got from what you were saying.
So the statistics are crazy. Something like 75% of business owners, actually, now that I'm saying this, I think it's 85, regret selling their business within the first 12 months. Why? Because they didn't set up their personal life to have something to do afterwards. There's this massive vacuum.
Yeah.
I remember when I left command of my submarine, after having been told that this was going to happen, that you go from the person that the cooks sneak hot chocolate chip cookies to on Friday evening in the middle of the night because they're going to be served the next day at noon. Like they're just doing all kinds of amazing things for you. And it's a total ego trip, but there's reasons for it. But then they said, hey, when you leave that and you go to Washington, D.C. or the Pentagon or somewhere, which is exactly where I went, you're not even going to have high enough rank to get coffee. Like the 1-star admirals get the coffee for the 5-star generals.
Yeah.
Or 4-star generals. And so there's a massive vacuum. And I know CEOs of companies or founders of companies go through that same thing. So they regret it because they don't have any purpose in life anymore. But they also regret it because the thing was providing the cash flow for their lives. And maybe they got some big lump sum of money, but what do they do with it? Like that, they don't know how to achieve the future they want. All they know is that they were burned out in this business. And so as a result, they sold it at an inappropriate time. And it wasn't ready, and so they got a third of what they could have gotten, and they don't know how to turn that into cash flow, and they have this massive void of purpose in their life. That is not what God intended for us to do, and nor the reason why we spent the 5 to 6 years in startup mode to get there. That's just sad, but it's what a majority of people go through.
And it's definitely like when we were, just to refer back to like infinite banking concept.
Yeah,
you're looking through like what really sold me on the idea of infinite banking concept is I'm protecting my human life value. So as I'm growing this business or buying real estate, it's unfortunate that the business is worth nothing until it's worth something. And there's a lot of work in between that point to get it there. And that's why it's so important to be building up a system that helps you with the financing process, capitalizes your life, create that tier 1 capital as you continue to grow your business and flow your capital through it. Yeah. And at the same time, as the policy grows, it's growing with your business, and creates more really agency in your life. And that's why it
Yeah.
really just
Yeah.
ties in so well.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you can see how they were building blocks, right? So at least
Yes.
in my
Yep.
journey. So all my money's in the markets. I'm leaving command of my submarine. I've lost half my
Yep.
wealth. It needs to not be there. It needs to be in real estate. Why? And eventually I realized, okay, it's because I can control it more. I have a better chance of success because there's less people and other circumstances between me and my money. Okay, I get that part. Why do I love this infinite banking stuff so much?
Yeah.
And initially, one initial answer and understanding was it's because it's protecting the number one asset. Okay, I get
Yes.
that you're the thing that's going to bring home the bacon for the family. I understand that. I get that. I can embrace it. I understand how I'm now further down the path. Like I want to control things and I need to be involved in them. And we want me to not go away too early for my family because I have commitments. All makes sense.
Yeah.
But then things like COVID taught me that, or the government's response to COVID taught me that, man, I had a client who had an ice cream, third generation ice cream business in their local town and got convinced that he's able to, like, he's got all this new energy because he just took over the company from Gen 2. And he's like, hey, I've been told we need another one in the neighboring town. And so he heavily leverages that one, buys one in the other town, barely in startup mode on that one. And the government shuts them all down because of the COVID response in 2020. He lost both buildings. Why? Because he was insufficiently liquid. And a lot of people in the real estate space that I've been in and you've been in will say that, man, I thought I was so smart. I was a multimillionaire in 2007 and 8, and then I lost everything. And they would say that they were over leveraged. And they always get mad at me because I'm like, you were not over leveraged. Leverage is not bad. Being under liquid is what took you down. And they're like, it's the same thing. I'm like, no, it's not, because you took leverage, but then you put it into real estate instead of holding some of it back. And that sounds self-serving when you're selling infinite banking products, but
Yeah.
I don't care if my clients just put it into the savings and checking account or bury it in the backyard, but don't put it somewhere where it's illiquid and you're not in control of it. And that is fundamental for business owners, more so than real estate even.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of behavioral stuff behind the infinite banking concept as well. It's kind of like there's a place to store your capital. There's the loans that you take out have to be paid back.
Yeah.
And recapitalizing your policy to go do the next task. And really, when you're taking money out of a bank account, it's easy to step away and just say, when the money gets back there, then I'll go do something else. But really, it's like you're holding yourself accountable through your policy, and in my opinion, it creates more discipline for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I get one other thing on that. So I've had a lot of people who will say, gosh, I don't want to put the money in the policy because it's not working for me. I want it out there working for me.
Yeah.
And I get your money working for you. Your soldiers were out there working for you and doing something efficient. But that pales in comparison to what having liquidity does for your mindset and for your confidence. So having certainty in the background enables us to go seek uncertainty. And they sound like opposites, but they're not. It is human nature that if we're not doing something that excites us, that has an unknown aspect to it, then we are not living a full life. Like we're living a very horrible life if there's no uncertainty at all. If everything is just the same as yesterday. And so that's why we go skydiving. It's why we go fast in cars. It's why we watch a movie we don't know the ending of. It's all those things. Like we seek uncertainty. It's the spice of life. But we won't do that without adequate certainty. And for some people, that means parachute or go skydiving without parachutes, or at least without a reserve, because they don't have anybody depending on them. They haven't looked in the eyeballs of that little 10-minute-old child who now depends on them. So things in life change our level of comfort. But without the certainty that we personally need, we will not seek uncertainty, which means we don't live. And so going back to that point that like my money needs to earn 10% or 12%, not 5%. No, you're missing the point. You can become a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, trillionaire like Elon Musk if you unlock the value and the potential that's inside the human. And that's what that money sitting on the sideline does, is it unlocks the 1 million X returns that you're not going to get by putting your money to work at a couple % higher rate.
And you also, I wrote it down as you were talking, but with the mistakes that we make in our life and we survive them is when we create a risk profile. Know, like you start to learn what you don't want to experience.
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah, and there's a saying that a smart person will learn from other people's mistakes, and yeah, I've never met that guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I certainly will learn far more from my own mistakes and than I do from other people's mistakes. And I love what Donald Trump said when asked, "What have you learned over your lifetime as a professional investor in the good times and bad times?" And like, I've learned nothing in the good times, but in the
yeah.
bad times, I've learned what everything that has every the reason I am the person I am today is because of the bad times I went through. Totally true.
Awesome. So, what kind of business owner would you say is the perfect business owner for you to start with
Yeah.
to help them build out where they need to go?
Yeah. So it is my goal that my team can help people in all aspects of business. Just starting
Mm.
out, solopreneur, not even an entrepreneur, but maybe just a business owner. They're an
Yeah.
accountant and they're working 1099. So my team can help everyone. My ideal person for me personally, and the reason that I went through the SEPA certification is I'm trying to attract business owners who already have agency and they definitely know they want it and they want more of it. And
Yeah.
they're operating at a more complex kind of level. They're trying to figure out, what about this legacy thing? How does that compete with, should I sell my business to my employees? And so more complex, operating at scale. Should I take it public? Those kinds of things. And so for me, I think it's a business that is at least 4 years mature, more if possible. I'd like to see $1 to $5 million of revenue for me to personally handle that case. And that's, I think, where the SEPA certification kind of steps in. Now, I have personally have hundreds of clients that I meet with that are not at
Yep.
that level, but I also have a team who can help me put in place the first term insurance policy to protect the young business owner's
Yeah.
family, and then get their first life insurance policy going and help them out with the entity, like why is an S corp different than sole proprietor, all those things, help them walk through those journeys, get their first real estate. Why would they even do real estate? And I just met recently with one of my clients, awesome guy who used to be in real estate. Then he started a pool service company in Jacksonville, Florida. And now he is a coach, business coach, who's helping businesses do things like write that first business plan, write the vision, hire your first employee. So at the very beginning level of things, his program is specifically set up to do that. Now, he's also helping me. It works to a more established level, but I'm not in yet the level that I'm trying to attract for the SEPA certification. Like, I would not need to hire a value advisor in the SEPA role to help me scale to sell in the next 2 to 3 years. That's not the place that I'm at, both on
Yeah.
revenue, but also just in timeline, what I really want to do.
Yeah. I just started a business networking group where I'm meeting with them once a week, and I've it's all different levels of business, and I actually enjoy it, and I actually do think of you regularly when I'm there because I'm thinking about agency and
Yeah.
how we're creating value, and I'm like, man, this is so patriotic to be able to start a trash business
Yeah.
and a valet trash business. He's looking to grow it, and as I'm talking to him, I've never started a trash business, but I could tell you that there's things that I've done in the past, which is the number one thing I would say is was an employee of my own company for too long. I
Yeah.
needed the cash flow to step out, but at the time I didn't have the cash flow. So like
Mm.
I had to be the employee for a long time before I could step away. And one second.
Yeah, and you did because you also said I could maybe figure this out faster with a coach, but I can't pay for the coach because I need the cash flow. So you do get
Yeah.
stuck in that place.
Yeah.
But it's the faster you can get through that, the faster you can grow. I remember Darren Hardy said that one of the things that Jim Rohn told him was spend 10% of your income, your revenue, not your profits, 10% of your revenue every year for the rest of your life on self-improvement, on personal development. And when he was 18 years old, that wasn't a lot of money, but I spend millions of dollars today because I followed what Jim Rohn told me years ago.
Yeah.
And so you have to sometimes do the hard thing, the thing that's not financially helpful, to get over that hump, to break through whatever the current glass ceiling is.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that I love that you talk about is what is it, the hierarchy pyramid, where you
Hierarchy
have
of
the
wealth.
first tier,
Yeah.
hierarchy of wealth, and really that first tier is being a cash basis, being liquid to be able to take action, and then that tier two would be investing in yourself. And I
Yeah.
completely agree to that.
Yeah. It's just, you have to remember, and you just have to go back to why am I sitting around with so much cash? That's a ridiculous level, but it's because it is unlocking provides enough certainty for you to be able to seek uncertainty, and it gives you the fuel for the racehorse. The racehorse in the Kentucky Derby is you. It's not your money invested in Nvidia stock. It's not you betting on AI or a crypto coin. It's not even you investing in your buddy's business. It is you. So the money that you can set on the sideline to give you the confidence to go kick the world's rear in your new business is where you need to put the money.
Yeah, and that's with the tier one capital. I think about that regularly, and that's literally how I stopped putting money into my 401k. Is I realized that I never had cash available to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
I found this one real estate deal as a mobile home park, super busy road, and I saw it. Nope, for whatever reason, didn't sell for it. It was on the market for 6 months, and I was trying to convince people to buy this mobile home park. This is before I even owned a mobile home park, and it was a 16 unit, and I couldn't convince anybody. And I always thought to myself, if I had the money, I would buy that. And really, at that time, all I needed is $100,000 to buy it because there was seller financing available. And I would repeat that to myself: is people, to be wealthy, you have to have liquidity available.
Yeah.
You have to have capital to be able to take advantage of. You don't have to always have your money in the stock market or something like that just because that's what Ray Dalio tells you.
Yeah. And that's my favorite definition of luck. Opportunity meets preparedness. It's the preparedness part that people underappreciate. Man, that guy's lucky. Yeah, he was lucky because he ignored when you said he should put his money in the stock market.
Yeah,
He had
exactly.
it sitting there ready to go.
Cool. So we've gone over agency, building a business. Is there anything else you have?
I think I'm inspired to help individuals, just to summarize here. So what drives me, at least my understanding today in this journey, what drives me is helping individuals understand what their unique value, let me say this again. It's helping people who understand what their unique value is to the world and wants to share it and scale it in the form of a business. I want to help you optimize that business so you stay in the fight because you enjoy what you're doing and you're not doing it 24/7. And you're seeing the fruits of the labor, and other people around you see that and they get inspired and they go to try to do the same thing. And so this is a cauldron of helping people, an incubator of helping people understand how to run business, why you would want to run business, and showing the fruits of labor to others as a great marketing tool for them to jump into it as well. And if we do that successfully, then this 250-year experiment is going to keep rolling for another 250. So thank you, Glenn, for allowing me to get that out there. I learn every time I open my mouth because things come out and I'm like, now I'm piecing things together because I don't really understand them until I say them.
Yeah, and it's always great. And I think without you telling me what your brand is, but it's definitely empowering other people to grow.
Yeah.
And I definitely idolize that. And I try to mimic it through my own personal content that I create. And really that's all I'm trying to do is create empowerment to grow in your financial life and personal life, and giving yourself opportunities.
Yeah, Glenn, you know what? Here's one of the most amazing things. So one of the nicest results of this new 15-year journey I'm on, when I left the military and started being a life insurance agent of all things, one of the things that has always resonated with me is Zig Ziglar, or maybe it's Jim Rohn, I forget now, but saying that you're the sum total of 5 people you spend most time around. It's probably Jim Rohn. And so I want to spend time around people who are optimistic, who are empowered to do better, to add value to the world, to never quit. I want to be around people like that because it just inspires me. And I want to enable those people to be more and more successful. And if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, why would I put my money in a life insurance policy that earns 5%? That's not much. I can almost do that in a CD. And I say, well, it's because you're betting on yourself. I'm like, I don't think I should bet on myself. I should bet on this guy over here or this mutual fund. I'm like, cool. See ya. We are not like-minded. We only got so many minutes on this planet. I wish you well. Like, I'm not trying to kick you off the island. I'm just saying we are not like-minded. And if you don't believe in yourself, why in the world would I spend time with you? So it's very helpful in getting to the core of who are my people and who are not my people. And that's the point of my podcast, is attract people who are my people and let's get busy together improving the world. And all the rest of you, please go enjoy a movie.
Yeah. Awesome. Where can people find you?
That's awesome. My name, GaryPinkerton.com. So Gary at GaryPinkerton.com. And then Gary's Gulch podcast. Please give me positive feedback or constructive feedback. I'm good. But give me feedback on the podcast, because when I know that people are listening, I keep producing more. So thank you so much. I'm forever grateful, Glenn.
All right. Thanks for being on the show.